Let the love of the Lord flow. Let the joy in his heart show. Let the world we're living in know he's alive. Let the love of the Lord flow. Let the joy in his heart show. Let the world we're living in know he's alive. Loved, accepted, healed, forgiven, saved by grace and touched by heaven. Lord, let your kingdom break forth all the more. Let the love of the Lord.
Hey there and welcome to Praise School. Why Praise School? Well, I'll explain some of the language and definitions of words in a moment. But really, this is a simple online resource, particularly for this COVID season, but also beyond. So it's there, it's online, it's there for eternity. It's just a simple way of accessing some basic 101 teaching on corporate worship or corporate praise, and I'll start to explain the difference between that language in a moment. So it's lockdown. It's hard as worshiping musicians to get together, and we can't even jam together, and we love that. At YCC we have a monthly event called Cake and Jam, where we turn up and there's coffee and there's cake and then we jam together, and someone leads a song and then we catch on with it and follow on, or someone brings another song and we interact, and we're just exploring the atmosphere and the journey of praise together. But we can't do that. We can do worship on Zoom, we can do pre-recorded videos and stick them all together and do amazing things with multi-voices choirs. But there's some basic, simple things we can't do, and we can't always interact and see each other clearly either. So I've gone online. So basically, I'm going to just take some teaching I've been carrying for years and stuff I've been putting into practice. I'm Simon Rennie, by the way, in case you didn't see that. I'm Simon Rennie. I've been in church-based pastoral ministry, ordained Christian ministry for over 30 years. And I've been involved really in worship leading for probably near 40 years. And my journey's been interesting. Obviously, 40 years, there's been lots of changes and different waves of influence. And also my own background. I don't have music theory necessarily. I didn't learn an instrument at school or anything. I took a job as a door-to-door motorbike salesman. How bizarre is that? That's what happens when you fail your A-levels. And the commission I got after 1 month of doing this soul-destroying job, I bought a guitar. And I started to play. And I wanted to play guitar in church. I wanted to play Christian music. I'd become a Christian at the age of 14. That's another story. I met Jesus in a dream. But I never went to church for at least 12 months. So my discipleship as a Christian for the first 12 months at the age of 14, I had a Gideon's New Testament, and I had a copy of Malcolm and Alwyn's Wild World. You can still download that if you want to. It may be a bit dated. It's sort of soft folk rock. But honestly, the problem was I listened to these songs. They were full of intimacy. They were full of personal testimony. They had a bit of a lead guitar and a bit of twangy electric stuff going on in drums. So when I eventually did go to a church, it was just so boring. I didn't stay. And then some months later, I went to another church, totally different, yet still boring. So I was spoiled. I eventually got to a church. Thankfully, I went to a baptismal service. And so people were standing up and sharing their testimonies, how they met Jesus. And I thought, I've got one of them. I've got a great story about how I met Jesus. And it just made sense, and I stayed. What was I talking about? Okay, focus. Okay. In my head, we've got 4 sessions. Okay. So this is an introductory session. What I want to do here in the next few minutes is give you some definitions and also the 4 key components, values for Christian ministry, especially in regards to worship ministry and leading worship. So that's what we're going to do in this session. I think there's going to be 3 bite-sized videos. In the next session, again, probably in 3 shorter videos, we're going to look at some of the dynamics, some of the things that ignite Christ-centered worship and we'll open up the scriptures and we'll read a great narrative from the Gospels and we'll talk about worship. In the third session, we're going to look specifically at the language of praise and, expand our horizons and expectations of what we should be looking for in corporate praise. And in the last session, session 4, we're going to be looking at how prayer, praise and prophecy interplay, how they overlap. Are they the same thing? Are they different disciplines within the same concept? And we'll look at something possibly called the worship cycle, which again is something I've been teaching on for a couple of decades or more. So, why praise school? Well, though when people stand up in a church service and say, we're going to worship now, I understand what we mean. The band's going to play, we're going to sing some songs, we're going to have a great time. I love worship. I love worship songs. But for some people who don't come from that sort of tradition, worship is about a lifestyle choice. And they're right. The thing is, they're right. Okay? So worship comes from an old English word, which is about worth. You worship something when you give worth or value to something. Worthy, oh worthy are you, Lord, worthy to be thanked and praised and worshipped and adored. So worship is when we give value to something. And we worship God by our attitude. We worship God by the way we handle our finances. We worship God by the way we handle our time. So everything in our life can be worship. So what I've done is I've reclaimed the word praise, because praise in the Bible, in Hebrew, there are a number of words for praise, but they center around the concept of music and song. Well, in another session, we're going to look at this in more detail, so don't panic if you think, oh, I think worship praise means this or that. We'll get there, don't worry. We've got 7 definitions, I think. So this is praise school, because I'm talking primarily about corporate praise. I'm talking about a worship band. I'm talking about singing songs, but I'm talking about a lot more than just singing songs. I'm reclaiming praise. And if you're going to be a worship leader, you need to understand the dynamics of Christ-centered worship, the breadth and expectations of praise, and the interplay of prayer, praise, and prophecy. And hence, that's the reason for doing these 4 sessions. Okay, so after on the next video, we'll start by looking at the 4 components, or the 4 key values of Christian ministry, and in particular, being a worship leader. Okay, thank you.